An urchin.
A boy.
An
Because they're all
urchin.
boys in Oliver. There's
Yeah.
no girls, except for what's her name, and I didn't get that role. So I'm a boy. More, maybe when more for glorious for. We had to sing all
Wow.
that. Yeah.
Was that typecasting?
And then in high school, I was in Beckett, and I was a dude. So my only 2 roles.
so historically
I
speaking,
was a dude.
Wow.
And had to, and had to be a dude. And so that didn't go well for me. And I don't even remember what role I played in Beckett. I just knew, again, I'm a dude.
Did you have any lines?
I had a couple of lines.
Did
but
you
nothing.
try out? Did you audition? Did you go, hi, my name is Erin?
It was one of those things that you were in the class, the drama class, and you got extra points, bonus points if you tried out for the play.
Yeah.
Not to mention the fact that you had to stay after school for like weeks and weeks.
See,
I missed my tennis. I missed all my stuff.
When Watson was still here,
Oh, that was such a pain.
and he was in all the plays with stage center and all that stuff, which sounds like awesome fun. And I've met a number of people with whom he worked regularly.
Yeah.
I mean, Daniel Salazar and a whole bunch of great people. When Emily was still here, she moved away. But anyway, the point being that these were awesome people, and it looked like fun except for one thing. You rehearse every night leading up to the play, and that cuts into your drinking time.
Yeah. It really was. And of course, you're in the play with whoever played Beckett, was the big man on campus. Everybody, all the girls liked him and all that.
You have
and
no idea what that play was about,
I have
do you?
no clue what it was about. All I know was I was in it.
Don't you remember the
and he
line,
was-
Lord, would someone rid me of that bothersome priest or something
I do
like that?
something like that.
Okay,
Yeah,
well.
something like that. And I, in both of those productions,
Yes.
I wore like a brown cape. In Oliver, I wore this brown cape with this ugly belt.
Yeah.
And then in Beckett, I wore this brown robe thing. And I'm not cut out for this. I wanted to be home drinking.
You're not cut out to be a man.
No, I'm
That is
not
so
trans.
politically incorrect. You have no
I
idea.
should have embraced it.
Speaking of, and we'll get to this story later because we talk about the trans political agenda. We've talked about trans men and women. We've talked about Rachel Dolezal, the trans who is listed as, okay, if you don't know who Rachel Dolezal is a white woman who lives in Spokane, Washington, who was living her life as a black woman. I mean, she had her hair did, and she was literally living her life as a black woman, and was in fact president of the Spokane, Washington NAACP.
And she was really white.
When she was found out to be a white woman, at that point she said, "Well, I'm trans black."
Trans black.
And
okay.
she is listed, if you Google Rachel Dolezal, it lists her today as trans black activist. So you can be trans male, trans female. You can be trans black. There was the guy who was the university professor, and I forget now, but I'm not making this up. He said he was trans species and was in fact a hippopotamus. So that got him tenure.
Yeah.
There is a professor, and we'll get detail on this later. Imagine if you're in school. I'm not making this up. Imagine if you're in school, college, and you could be trans grade.
Ooh.
If I said you are a student and you are allowed to be trans grade, what do you think that means? Based on everything we've discussed in the last 90 seconds.
I'm trans A. Give me all A's.
You've got that exactly.
Yes.
That's exactly what this professor is doing.
I'm really an A student, so give me my A's.
His stance for his students is that no matter what grade I give you, if because of the stress and because your safe space feels, if your safe space feels threatened, or you've undergone some sort of trigger warning in my class, you are allowed to select your own grade. And that is the grade you get. So we have transgender,
Yeah.
we have trans race, we have trans species, and
Yep.
now details on the way. We have, I'm not making this up, trans grade. Your grade is what you think it is.
I want your blood to boil. So now while we're on the subject, there is now a new tax on men.
The 18% tax.
Yep.
At that.
Wait, don't tell them yet. Wait.
20 past 6 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel traffic update. Here's Ruben.
It is once again the best time of day to get where you're going because everything is all clear for your early morning drive to work. But look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on I-20 westbound near Spring and Market. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, occasional rain and a thunderstorm today, high 80. Tonight, partly cloudy with a shower or thunderstorm, low 71. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Steve Travis.
Voice.
22 past 6 o'clock, time for Tuesday morning sports. Here's Fletch.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. The Advocate reports LSU's men's basketball coach Will Wade is working under a 6-year deal worth $15 million or $2.5 million a year with no buyout. The 34-year-old Wade would owe LSU the amount remaining on his contract if he leaves for another job, and the school would owe him just the remaining on his contract if he is fired. Wade's salary is a $1 million bump from what he was making last year at Virginia Commonwealth, and it's also $1 million more than what Johnny Jones earned last year at LSU. In addition, the Advocate reports Wade could earn an additional $800,000 in incentives each season. The Saints released their first depth chart of the preseason with Thursday's preseason opener against Cleveland looming. Mark Ingram and Adrian Peterson are listed as co-starters at running back. Ted Ginn Jr. is also listed ahead of Willie Snead at one of the wide receiver spots. Over on defense, P.J. Williams is listed ahead of Delvin Breaux at one of the cornerback spots. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
You can stop that. No, really.
It's on the song. That wasn't me.
I don't believe you. And neither do our thousands of very patient listeners.
It doesn't sound like the song.
25 past 6 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. I saw this story a few days ago.
I love this.
And it literally, see, we've talked, you just don't realize that we have talked about this many times before. And in fact, we have talked about this very topic when you have gone to your YWCA Dialogues on Race. When you've had the Dialogues on Race at the YWCA and other local get-together groups, what is basic? The same topic comes up over and over again. Do you recall what that is?
No.
White privilege.
Oh, yeah.
And
absolutely.
when they talk about white privilege, when I'm done laughing, No, don't get me wrong. I believe in white privilege. It exists. There are different classes of privilege. And this is a topic we can do throughout the morning.
Yep.
In the same way, there is economic privilege. There is, for example, Barack Obama's kids, they've got a little more privilege than a lot of other people. But nobody's going to call him on it. But this is sort of not necessarily white privilege, but in these women's minds, male privilege. And I've told you all along that the long-term solution to privilege of any kind, or at least the PC-approved privilege, white privilege, male privilege, etc., is to take away their money. It's redistribution of wealth. So think of this as male privilege, and please proceed.
I'm loving this story. It's a restaurant called Handsome Her.
Why are you loving this story?
I think this is funny.
You know who Martin Niemöller was?
Yes, I
Okay,
know.
just keep
Let
that-
him go. I know.
And when they came for me,
There's
there
nobody
was
left.
no one left to complain.
Yep. It's a vegan restaurant. It says they're for women, by women, and they have an 18% gender tax. Men pay 18% from jump just to sit your butt in the booth.
Hello, half the potential customers in our town.
They have
Screw you.
house rules as you walk in. Rule number 1.
Yes.
Women have priority seating. So if you're sitting down and I come in,
I got that.
get your butt up. I got priority seating.
Settle down, Rosa Parks.
Number 2, men will be charged an 18% premium to reflect the gender pay gap, which is donated to women's services. And 3,
Now, let me ask
rule
you
number
something.
3,
Hang on. If you went to that restaurant and you said, I think you guys are cool. I think you guys are freaking awesome. So what are your women's services? And they said, well, Planned Parenthood, number 1. What would you do? Would you walk out? Oh, yeah. What are your women's services? But please proceed.
rule number 3, respect goes both ways.
Evidently not.
I love this place. I want one here. It's just a great place for chicks to hang out. I don't think any men are going to this joint.
Then why?
I think it's just to be funny and make a statement.
What? I don't think they're being funny at all. I think they're being serious as hell. Let me ask you something. If you were going to start Leslie, Happy Belly, okay? What if she put up on her sign on her window today? Men, 18% tax, 18% male privilege tax. What business model? What university? Practically all of them in this day and age. What is the business model of a successful entrepreneurship where you sit down and the first thing you say is, we're going to put it to half of our customers. We are going to alienate half of our potential users.
Right. Well, truth be known.
Yes.
It's against all. This is an Australian restaurant. It's against the law to discriminate on the basis of sex or gender. So the tax is really just a suggestion. Men are asked if they want to pay the charge before they are ever charged.
28 past 6 o'clock, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Miss Erin has local news in a second or two. And Ruben in traffic and weather. I was boxing up late last night. I took a lot of shots to the head. Traffic and weather updates next on Keel. Good morning, 29 past 6 o'clock, 1017 FM, 710 Keel traffic.
Looks like I-20 eastbound's got it clear all the way to Monroe right now, but look out later on this morning for a road closure on I-49 northbound near the I-20 exit due to construction. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, mainly cloudy today with occasional rain and a thunderstorm, high 80. Tonight, a shower or thunderstorm around, low down to 71. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Steve Travis.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
An open house was held at Booker T. Washington High School with incoming freshmen and new students from the merger with Fair Park High. Parents were able to learn about all the student organizations and the policies at BTW. This year, the school will have a freshman academy where all ninth graders will have classes in their own wing. BTW is also the first school in Shreveport to implement the early college program, where students can earn a degree at Southern University while completing high school. Another boy dies from a tragic boating accident. Matt Parker has an update.
11-year-old Thomas Larry has died from injuries received during a tragic sailboating accident. Larry is one of 3 Boy Scouts killed on Alley Creek at Lake of the Pines when the mast of their sailboat hit a power line. In honor of the fallen scouts, a ceremony will be held this morning at 11 a.m. at University Health in Shreveport. East Texas Boy Scout officials say that this was a freak accident, and the organization doesn't plan on changing any of their procedures or policies. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
The Larry family has agreed to donate his organs, so they're urging all Boy Scouts to show up at the local hospital at 11 o'clock this morning in his honor. Shreveport leaders discussing the safety of open drains following the death of a 7-year-old boy who was swept away in a drainage ditch. City leaders are looking at options to prevent another tragedy. With teenage suicide on the rise, Caddo schools are doing everything they can to combat the trend. The school system is starting a new program to teach parents and students what to look for in loved ones that may be struggling or fighting depression. The Signs of Suicide Prevention program will teach what to look for and what steps to take if something is wrong. Joe Ogden from Haynesville dead following an 18-wheeler accident. Ogden was driving on LA Highway 159 in Webster Parish when he lost control of his big rig. According to troopers, Ogden left the roadway and overturned. He was not buckled up. A brief scare at a maximum security prison in Arkansas after inmates took 3 officers hostage. Victoria Price with Fox affiliate KLRT was on the scene.
Prison officials have given everything the all clear. We're told the disturbance has been resolved and things are slowly but surely going to get back to normal here at Tucker Max. Earlier this afternoon, we're told at 3:30 during a recreational call, 6 inmates managed to somehow snatch the keys away, took control of an area of the prison. There were 3 correctional officers trapped, if you will, in there with them.
All 3 of the officers were released, 1 inmate taken to the hospital. Superintendent of Education John White's contract will be a topic of discussion for Bessie members. The board will hold a closed-door meeting on Saturday to talk about White's future. Today, Governor Edwards is holding a meeting with business leaders to devise a plan for addressing the looming fiscal cliff when temporary taxes expire next year. Jeremy Alford of LAPolitics.com says we can expect to see the governor traveling the state to get ideas after he was criticized for not publicizing his tax plan during the fiscal session. After 2 special sessions this year and 2 more last year, Alford says there's not many options that haven't already been on the table. He says if history is any indication of what's to come, it may all come down to the sales tax.
The sales tax has been a go-to move for the legislature and governors. It's a quick and dirty way to generate money. You don't have to wait for it to be implemented. You can implement it right away and the revenue will start showing up.
Alford says the governor is looking to hear from the business community what types of policy changes may be palatable, specifically tax increases. UN Ambassador Nikki Haley addressing news that North Korea has put anti-ship cruise missiles on a patrol boat.
I can't talk about classified information. What I can tell you is that we are on it. We are very aware of what's happening. We are going to continue to watch.
U.S. spy agencies reporting that information on Monday. Now it's the first time missiles have been deployed on that platform since 2014 and comes after the UN Security Council put tough new sanctions on North Korea. Some lucky carriage horses in Philadelphia got a summertime treat after a truck spilled a load of watermelons on the street near Independence Hall. Some people bought the surviving melons for their kids, while horses used for carriage tours helped with the cleanup by eating the smashed fruit. Cloudy today. Could see a shower possible throughout the afternoon. High near 80 degrees. Right now, 74. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
.101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Was there something you wanted to talk about here?
No, I got it. I got the man tax. I like that. We did the man tax.
Yeah, I remember that, but I thought there was something else you had mentioned.
No, in the next segment. Not this short one. Not the short one.
Okay.
Why, are you concerned about something?
No. Well, yeah, the fact that I don't remember things that happened like 90 seconds ago. That is some small cause for concern.
Yeah, we do have to tell you, I didn't put it in the news, but water main broken this morning on Highway 169 up in the Blanchard area, so those folks have no water today. So I hope you showered last night. If you didn't, Febreze will work.
I beg your pardon?
Just squirt yourself down with some Febreze.
Trust me, somebody in here's done that. We shan't mention names. It was 25 years ago today that the Dream Team basketball squad at the Olympics won the gold medal. They defeated, I think it was Croatia, and I think that
sounds about
by
right.
like 32 or 34 points, something like that in the finals.
Close game.
Actually, they won the average victory for the Dream Team. Now, this is Jordan and Charles Barkley and
Shaq.
John Stockton, all those guys.
Yeah.
Did you know there was only one college guy on the team? Do you know who it was?
Christian Laettner.
Yes!
Of course I know that.
How the hell did you know that?
I know everything.
Because everybody hates Christian Laettner.
Yeah,
There was
everybody hates.
only-
Well, have you seen that?
I have.
Great.
Well, that's the answer to the next
That's a
question.
great
Of all the
documentary.
Dream Team players, only one of that Dream Team is not in the Basketball Hall of Fame in Springfield, Massachusetts. Do you know who
Christian
that is?
Laettner.
Christian Laettner.
Of course.
When the Dream Team in 1992, when the Dream Team in 92 won that gold medal at the Summer Olympics, there were a total of 6 foreign-born players in the NBA. This last season, just to show you how, because people look back and go, what the hell was the point of that? They just beat the hell out. They just, they literally won their average game by 41 or 42 points.
Yeah.
And if you remember the game against Angola, the country, not the jail. Although I think prisoners could have done a little better.
They play some good hoops in Angola.
The Angola team was, during the game, taking selfies on the court with Michael Jordan and Barkley and all those guys. But the point I was going to make was, in 1992, when the Dream Team won that gold medal at the Summer Olympics, there were 6 foreign-born players in the NBA. This last season, 24%
Are foreign.
of the players in the league,
Wow.
as the players call it, were born outside the USA.
That's just like Major League Baseball, too.
639, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL traffic update right now. Here's Ruben.
It is once again the best time of day to get where you're going because everything is all clear for your early morning drive to work. But look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on I-20 westbound near Spring and Market. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, mainly cloudy today with occasional rain and a thunderstorm, high 80. Tonight, a shower or thunderstorm around, low down to 71. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Steve Travis.
.1017 FM, 710 Keel. Online at keelnews.com. You can download the Keel app. It's free. There's a million ways to listen. Keel app, free, office furniture source, and one more way. What is it? We are streaming this morning once again on the Keel Facebook page and building quite the little listenership who are what. And as I predicted, because when we first started this, about 2 weeks ago, Erin said, off the air one day, she said, we need to figure out a way where people can hear Fox News and all this other stuff while we're in break. And then we realized, well, Fox News isn't going to let you rebroadcast their news through another source without paying for it. And I said, no, because people are going to want to watch what we do when the mics are off.
Oh, yeah.
Even though they can't hear us.
Crazy stuff.
A bevy of lip readers have risen to the fore.
We got to watch our lips.
No, we don't. Yeah. You do. Especially after that little, like looking for 8 when they pull that gate.
Yeah.
And I hope that judge ain't blind move you made yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay, let me run it down again. 1017 FM, 710 Keel, the Keel app, office furniture source, and you can watch us this morning on video on the Keel Facebook page.
Peace.
Okay, so you literally, seriously unhappy news from, tell me.
Yeah, we got word yesterday that the 11-year-old who was tragically hurt in that sailboating accident at Lake of the Pines, the Boy Scout, he had survived the accident, but now we learned yesterday he passed. He was 11-year-old Thomas Larry, and he was at University Health here in Shreveport, where he still is. He died yesterday. His lungs they'd never been able to regain function in his lungs. They were just not able to revive him and bring him back. And I assume the family made the decision to let him go. But in doing that, and it makes me tear up, in doing that, they have decided to donate whatever organs are usable to someone else so that this little boy, an 11-year-old, may save countless other lives. Kidney, liver, corneas, skin. I mean, who knows what they use now. They're going to donate anything that they can, that the doctors can use to help others. And that's just, of course, that's a scout. You know, they do what they can to help others. Even in this little boy's death, he is going to help countless other people. And so what they're doing today is something really cool. They are raising a flag at University Health. The ceremony is at 11:30, but they're asking all scouts to show up at 11 in uniform at University Health at 11 o'clock today. They're going to raise the flag when they begin the procedure to harvest Thomas's organs. And when that procedure is over, they will lower that flag I'm getting chill bumps. They will then lower that flag, fold it up by the scouts. I'm sure the scouts will all fold it. And then they will hand it over to the little boy's mom and dad and thank them for what they've done and try to envelop them in the love of our community. I mean, this is a little boy from Hallsville, Texas, probably visited Shreveport a time or two, but really not connected here. But our local community is going to come out. I'm sure there'll be scouts from all over East Texas showing up. I can't even, I'm going to go over there today. I just can't imagine that emotional scene with this little boy.
What more do we know at this point about what actually happened? I was talking to a couple of folks familiar with Lake of the Pines, and specifically Gary McCoy on Kiss Country, who has fished everywhere. I mean, if there's a puddle of water in my backyard, McCoy's,
he's caught a minnow in it.
He's caught something in, he's had a boat on. He said a sailboat on Lake of the Pines is very, very rare. And what he suspected, and you can extrapolate, you can expound on this, is that it happened on a very narrow tributary off the lake.
Yeah, it was Alley Creek was where it happened.
In fact, and I don't know what the width of that is.
I don't either.
But because there's a lot of camps, etc., down these small tributaries, these small creeks, bluntly put, that it's not uncommon to string a power line across.
Right.
For various cabins, camps, etc.
And the other thing is the water is higher now. When the water's lower, a sailboat might have been okay, but as the water level rises, it puts your sailboat mast up higher out of the water and in jeopardy if there are power lines.
So for everybody, once again, if you would repeat what's going on today, University Health, and just sort of run through the whole thing again.
11 o'clock today at University Health, right in front of the hospital, they will raise a flag in honor of 11-year-old Thomas Larry, and that will signal the beginning of the surgical procedure, which is supposed to start at 11:30 to harvest his organs. They're asking all scouts, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, Cub Scouts, it doesn't matter, to come out in uniform today at 11 o'clock in front of University Health in honor of Thomas Larry. Once the surgical procedure is over, they will lower the flag. The scouts will then fold that flag up and hand it to his parents.
There is a fellow named Derek Wayne Johnson, and he will be joining us just after 7 o'clock this morning. He is a movie producer and director and screenwriter, and he is from Carthage, Texas. And tonight, I think it's 7.
Okay.
If it's 8. No, I think maybe it's 8.
It was 8 the other day.
Okay, then it's 8 again today.
Okay.
There goes the memory again. I'd take the ginkgo if I could recall where it is. God, can you imagine him listening this morning going, what?
I'm not on the way.
Late.
I'm in the shower.
And he has done a documentary movie on a Hollywood director. The name will sound familiar to you, John Avildsen, who recently passed away. And if you don't know, John Avildsen directed movies like Rocky and The Karate Kid.
Oh, wow.
And a whole
biggies.
A whole bunch of classics. And Mr. Derek's documentary and homage to John Avildsen will be shown this evening at Robinson Film Center, and he's going to talk about that, plus explain how a guy from Carthage, Texas, ends up in Hollywood helping to make movies.
No kidding.
648, 1017 FM, 710 KEEL, traffic and weather, and your money now coming up next, and it's here on KEEL. Good morning, 649, KEEL traffic update. Looking like Ruben's ready.
Looks like I-20 eastbound's got it clear all the way to Monroe right now, but look out later on this morning for a road closure on I-49 northbound near the I-20 exit due to construction. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, mainly cloudy today with occasional rain and a thunderstorm, high 80. Tonight, a shower or thunderstorm around, low down to 71. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Steve Travis.
The stories you want to know about with Robert and Erin. Each weekday morning. Breaking news and trending talk. 1017 FM and 710 KEEL.
Well, we got the next segment. 652 KEEL Sports.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. The Advocate reports LSU's men's basketball coach Will Wade is working under a 6-year deal worth $15 million or $2.5 million a year with no buyout. The 34-year-old Wade would owe LSU the amount remaining on his contract if he leaves for another job, and the school would owe him just the remaining on his contract if he is fired. Wade's salary is a $1 million bump from what he was making last year at Virginia Commonwealth, and it's also $1 million more than what Johnny Jones earned last year at LSU. In addition, the Advocate reports Wade could earn an additional $800,000 in incentives each season. The Saints released their first depth chart of the preseason with Thursday's preseason opener against Cleveland looming. Mark Ingram and Adrian Peterson are listed as co-starters at running back. Ted Ginn Jr. is also listed ahead of Willie Snead at one of the wide receiver spots. Over on defense, P.J. Williams is listed ahead of Delvin Breaux at one of the cornerback spots. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
Good morning, 653, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. I kind of got chewed out during the sports and commercial break by
deserved it.
By little Parky. So there's a commercial on that we were watching on the TV in here, and it was actually it was a news piece on Tesla cars, and I said, just being silly, I think I want an electric car. And all of a sudden, everybody started yelling at me.
What's wrong with you?
Matt says, "You idiot! You have an electric car." I said, "No, I have a hybrid." And then Matt said, "Well, you."
Then I recalled, or tried to make you remember this little tale of this time you were sitting in a parking lot with the engine running, and you left it running for like an hour and a half because you couldn't hear the motor. Because you know why? It was electric.
That happened, actually.
Was that a adult beverage night?
No.
Well, this was before he started drinking.
No, we went to Oyster Bar, and I was getting out of the car. And when you idle the car, it goes to battery power.
Mm-hmm.
And so you don't hear anything.
Yeah, I know.
Well, before I get out of the car, I'm doing some stuff on the phone, and you don't hear anything, so you don't think about turning the engine off because, as Matt said, there's no engine. So I get out of the car, I lock it, I go into the restaurant.
Oh.
About 15 or 20 minutes later, the maitre d', if you could describe the guy at Oyster Bar as a maitre d',
sure,
says, "Can I have your attention, please? Somebody outside, black Lexus, your lights are on."
Oh, my.
And I'm thinking, some idiot outside with a black Lexus. It never occurred to me that might be me.
Yeah.
The point being, I go outside.
It's yours.
It was me.
Bloody idiot.
Because I had walked away from my...
It was running the whole time?
Yeah.
His non-electric car.
Yeah.
Idiot.
That battery powered.
Such a doofus.
656, here's Rush Limbaugh on Keel.
Let's see, a ceasefire in an American city on a weekend. That's not a joke, folks. It actually happened in Baltimore, a 72-hour truce. They spread the message, nobody kill anybody, because 200 people have been killed so far this year. They tried to get some of the city's toughest people to sign on, thinking that would lead to a murder-free weekend. There were pro-peace events held all over the city. People held up signs offering free hugs. I guess that's better than no murders. Tyrone Boyette took part. He said that at least the ceasefire let people in the community know that there's hope. He said the killing won't end, but it is a start. Well, not everybody listened to the nobody kill anybody message. The ceasefire was shattered. At least 2 people were murdered over the weekend. Even so, Tyrone may be right. This effort to restore a moral compass in Baltimore did not come from the same old politicians who have been blowing it and feeding off the city for decades. This came from the people themselves, the citizens, who are tired of living in danger and surrounded by violence. Finally, they're standing up and demanding better. And that is hopeful, especially in a Democrat stronghold where pessimism rules the roost. Say, hey, if you are just protecting your identity by monitoring your credit card, your checking account, your bank statements, you could miss some forms of identity theft, like your information being for sale on the dark web, or somebody stealing from your 401k accounts. It's a good thing there's LifeLock. They use proprietary technology to detect and alert you to a wide range of identity threats. If you have a problem, one of their U.S.-based identity restoration specialists will work to fix it. Now, no one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses, but nobody's better at this than LifeLock. Act now, folks. Get the added protection of Norton Security free for the first year when you bundle LifeLock and Norton memberships. For a limited time, you'll also get a special 15% discount off the first year of your LifeLock membership. Call 800-440-4833 or go to LifeLock.com and use the promo code RUSH15. RUSH15 to save 15%. Terms apply.
The intersection at Stoner Avenue and Centenary Boulevard is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Swan Lake Road in Bossier City. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROW.
Good morning, 6:59, your KEEL, AccuWeather.com forecast. Guess what? Cloudy and showers and rain heavy at times again today, near 80 for the high. It is 73 right now at KEEL.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 1017 FM and 710 KEEL. KEEL, Shreveport.
Good morning at 7:03. Robert and Erin, 1017 FM, 710 KEEL. Don't forget the KEEL app. It sounds awesome. Erin has local news in just a moment or so.
Another boy dies from a tragic boating accident. Our community pauses to remember him today. Caddo schools fighting teen suicide, and 2 local high schools are merging. They had a big event last night.
Okay, so we've had transgender, and you've got trans species. I'm not making that up. You've got transracial, that lady in Washington. Now, if you're a student, and I am not making this up, you have transgrade.
Huh?
Transgrade. And we're going to talk artificial intelligence again today. The machines may be out of control, and you don't own them. Plus, Fletcher in sports, traffic, and weather coming up all this hour, and it's right here on KEEL.
KEEL Morning Report. Now on 1017 FM and 710 KEEL.
Another boy dies from the tragic boating accident in northeast Texas. 11-year-old Thomas Larry has died from injuries he suffered during the sailboating accident at Lake of the Pines. A ceremony will be held today at University Health. The family's decided to donate his organs to others. A flag will be raised at the local hospital during this procedure, and it will be given to the family after the surgical procedure is over. All scouts are urged to attend the ceremony at 11 this morning and in uniform. Following the death of a 7-year-old boy who was swept away in a Shreveport drainage ditch, city leaders are looking at options to prevent another tragedy. Councilman Willie Bradford has suggested putting grates over the open drains. Another alternative is something like fencing. Caddo schools fighting teen suicide. Matt Parker with that.
With teen suicide on the rise, Caddo Parish schools are doing everything they can to combat the trend. The school system is starting a new program to teach parents and students what to look for in loved ones that may be struggling or fighting depression. The Signs of Suicide Prevention program will teach what to look for and what steps to take if something is wrong. The program will first be implemented in Caddo high schools, then expanded into middle schools. From 1017 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
Joe Ogden from Haynesville dead following an 18-wheeler accident. Ogden was driving on LA Highway 159 in Webster Parish when he lost control of his big rig. According to troopers, Ogden left the roadway and overturned. He was not wearing a seatbelt at the time of the crash and was partially ejected from the truck. Ogden was pronounced dead at the scene. Some faculty and staff at LSU will get a pay raise. According to LSU President F. King Alexander, each department will get a 3% merit raise pool, and department heads will determine how to hand out the money. Faculty Senate President Kevin Cope says the faculty are grateful these first steps are being taken, but he says it's odd this raise warrants a major discussion. He notes this is the kind of routine maintenance that other states do regularly to ensure the best and brightest stay.
Nobody would be surprised if, say, somebody went to the gas station and put fuel into the SUV. It is remarkable in a way that we even have to talk about this.
President Trump is out of Washington for 17 days, but don't call it a vacation. Trump is pushing back against the idea that this is a relaxing August getaway. He's spending his time at his private golf club in central New Jersey. Today, Governor John Bel Edwards holds meetings with business and industry leaders to talk about a plan for addressing the fiscal cliff. Another special session is inevitable as tax increases cannot be filed during the regular non-fiscal session next year. Jeremy Alford with LAPolitics.com says it's unclear when that session would be. He says if lawmakers can't address the cliff during that session, the governor would have to call yet another.
Worst case scenario is they don't leave Baton Rouge. We'll continue to have those elected officials in Baton Rouge beating their heads against that Alabama limestone that keeps the capital up.
Partly cloudy, rain likely today with the high near 80, right now 74. I'm Erin McCarty on 1017 FM and 710 KEEL.
Nine past 7 o'clock, 1017 FM 710 KEEL traffic update. Looking ready. It's Ruben.
Looking right now at some slow-moving traffic on Midway Avenue near Juella Avenue, and we have some traffic delays on Clyde Fant Memorial Parkway near Fannin Street. If you have anything to report to us, accidents, hazards, or closures, give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, mainly cloudy today with occasional rain and a thunderstorm, high 80. Tonight, a shower or thunderstorm around, low down to 71. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Steve Travis.
Good morning. It's 12 past 7 o'clock, 1017 FM, 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. You can listen online at, KEELnews.com. You can download the KEEL app. It's free from Office Furniture Source. You can watch the video. We are streaming live once again on the KEEL Facebook page.
Yo, what's up?
Including the, oh, God.
What's up to the booksters?
What is this? Straight out of what? Straight out of your backyard? What is wrong with you?
Straight out of She City. Broadmoor. I'm sorry. I really need more sleep.
No, you're not sorry.
I need more sleep.
You're like Rachel Dolezal. You're trans black. Just declare yourself to be a black woman, join some black organization, and then be found out and live the rest of your life in shame. Now, if you don't know what we're talking about, there's transgender.
Yeah.
Well, it's too complicated for this old guy. Then there's transracial. The remark I just made to Erin, and if you don't know who I mean, the woman's name is Rachel Dolezal.
Right.
And she's a white woman in Spokane, Washington, but she lived her life as an African-American, told everybody she was.
Mm-hmm.
She was, in fact, president of the local NAACP. When she was found out to be a white woman and not black, she said, well, I'm transracial. And, in fact, if you Google Rachel Dolezal right now, it lists her as a trans black activist, trans black, because she feels like she's black.
Yeah.
And in 21st century America, it's all about what you feel.
Mm-hmm.
So we have transgender, we have transracial. If you want to look up the guy, the university professor who is trans species, he says he's a hippopotamus. Okay, but his university takes it very seriously, and he has, in fact, been tenured.
Oh, man, because he's a hippo.
Remember, we live in a world, in the politically correct, radically leftist world. It's not what you are. It's not fact. We set facts and biology aside for what you think.
Yeah.
So we've got transgender. We have transracial. We have trans species.
I want to be trans species because I want to be a bear.
What if...
Because he gets to hibernate for like 9 months.
What if you were going to college, and you were told you could be transgrade?
Uh-oh.
I.e.,
I know what that is.
No matter what grade the professor gave you, if he gave you a D, but you felt that you got an A, you could say, I got an A.
I'm trans A.
And you know what the professor's going to do?
Give you an A.
A professor at the University of Georgia will allow his fall semester students to pick their own grades in an effort to reduce stress levels in the classroom. University of Georgia.
You better get ready on that Jack Spring electric shock buster button.
University of Georgia. College of Business Data Management professor Rick Watson detailed his classroom's, quote, stress reduction policy in his course syllabus, explaining that even though students may refer to their notes and books during testing, they can still request after the test and be granted a higher grade.
Because they just don't like the grade he gave me.
According to his course syllabus, quoting now, emotional reactions to stressful situations can have profound consequences for all involved. In order to avoid such situations in the class, the following policies will apply. I'll get to those in a moment. The extremely lax testing policy is listed in detail in the aforementioned syllabus.
Right.
Here's the rules for the class.
Oh, this is so stupid. Please, dear
Now,
Jesus.
I'm going to explain to you what his rules in the classroom are. And after I do, I want you to, you tell me how anybody could not get an A. Well, hold on. All tests will be open book.
Open book tests.
And
okay.
open notes, including the use of laptops. All tests are designed so that the majority of students can finish in half the allotted time. And students are expected to achieve, listen to this, students are expected to achieve only, quoting now, the lowest level mastery of course material. What are you thinking so far?
My head is about to explode.
In the event, the syllabus goes on, in the event the lenient testing policy is not generous enough for students, you may receive a grade that you, the student, finds acceptable. You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Here's what it says.
Student finds acceptable.
If you...
Student's going to find a boot in his ass.
If you... Good Lord. If you feel unduly stressed by a grade for any accessible material or the overall course, you can email the instructor in... Wait a second.
I don't like my grade.
If you feel unduly stressed by a grade for any accessible material or the overall course, you may mail the instructor indicating what grade you think is appropriate, and it will be changed.
I know Matt's going to explode, too. I just know it. We're both going to explode.
No explanation. I'm reading from the college catalog.
Don't like my grade.
No explanation is required by the student, but it is requested that you consider waiting 24 hours before emailing the instructor.
Oh, yeah. Wait for 24 hours before you whine. Then you can start whining all you want and we'll give you a better grade.
That's exactly how it works.
You poor darling.
You have your finger on the pulse of this business data management course.
Where are we freaking going to now?
At University of Georgia. We have transgender.
A good SEC school.
We have transracial. We have trans species. And now at University of Georgia, and in fact, that is an excellent point you make. That this is not some Ivy League or radical left coast
it's not Berkeley.
No, or NYU or anything like that. It's University of Georgia in the heart of the South, conservative country, a red state. And yet, to give you an indication of what the mindset, the zeitgeist, the culture of universities across the country, even if you are paying. Can you imagine paying to take this course? Can you imagine paying for this class?
I hope this runs people out of Georgia in droves.
Or to make another point, imagine borrowing on a student loan and having to pay that back with interest for that grade, which an employer is going to look at that and say, this is totally meaningless.
I've got the answer. I'm trans cash.
20
I have
past,
Donald Trump's cash.
20 past 7 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. It is time for traffic. Here's Ruben.
The intersection at Stoner Avenue and Centenary Boulevard is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Swan Lake Road in Bossier City. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, occasional rain and a thunderstorm today, high 80. Tonight, partly cloudy with a shower or thunderstorm, low 71. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Steve Travis.
21 past 7 o'clock, time for KEEL Sports. Here's Fletch.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. The Advocate reports LSU's men's basketball coach Will Wade is working under a 6-year deal worth $15 million or $2.5 million a year with no buyout. The 34-year-old Wade would owe LSU the amount remaining on his contract if he leaves for another job, and the school would owe him just the remaining on his contract if he is fired. Wade's salary is a $1 million bump from what he was making last year at Virginia Commonwealth, and it's also $1 million more than what Johnny Jones earned last year at LSU. In addition, the Advocate reports Wade could earn an additional $800,000 in incentives each season. The Saints released their first depth chart of the preseason with Thursday's preseason opener against Cleveland looming. Mark Ingram and Adrian Peterson are listed as co-starters at running back. Ted Ginn Jr. is also listed ahead of Willie Snead at one of the wide receiver spots. Over on defense, P.J. Williams is listed ahead of Delvin Breaux at one of the cornerback spots. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
Twenty-four past 7 o'clock. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty, 1017 FM 710 KEEL. I mentioned this a while ago. If you are listening right now to AM, to the AM band 710, do me a favor, put it on FM and see how it sounds.
Yes, flip it over. 1017
yeah,
FM.
Yeah.
Sounds awesome.
They've done a lot. They changed towers.
They jibber-wobbered the jangle-doogle, and they've got it all hooked up.
It was an awesome movie. That was Tarantino, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. Unchained.
They got it all hooked up.
You said something a couple of seconds ago that was pretty insightful, and I don't think you realized it, as are most of the smart things you say.
It's true.
Accidental intelligence.
Yeah.
I'll start with this, and then you'll remember what you said.
Yeah.
I thought we could make it 6 months without Governor Edwards at least circuitously asking for a tax increase or saying we needed a tax increase, that we need a tax increase because we are headed for
the fiscal cliff.
And so tell everybody what you said during the break.
Let's fall over it. Let's go over the cliff. Let's see what happens. Is the world going to come to an end? Are kids going to get kicked out of hospitals? Are schools going to shut down? Are teachers going to get fired? Or are we going to find a way to keep the truck rolling?
No. You're missing the point. If Governor John Bel Edwards, if past is prologue, Governor Edwards, were that to happen, would work the Barack Obama model.
No LSU football this fall.
And he would shut down everything that hurts the most people. He would shut down. Do you think that they would reduce staff? Do you think they would cut back on the amount of gasoline that state of Louisiana state official SUVs? No. They're not. That's not what they're going to cut. They will eliminate. They will cut the things that hurt the most people. They will cut medical care. They will cut LSU football. They will say, sorry, we didn't mean to, but because you didn't give us what we wanted, as they've seemed to try to do so many times.
If he ever wants to win another election, he would not touch anything like LSU football.
And it's interesting to me the way you prioritize things, that you say your most important thing would be LSU football.
I mean, because we all would know that's a joke. We all would know that's just him playing a power play. We're going to cut LSU football. Right.
Got Obama a second term.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Suck it, big boy.
Okay.
That's not going to happen.
You explain to me then. You're the governor of Louisiana.
Well, going to shut down LSU football.
Why
even make that stupid threat?
She's very, very antagonistic this morning, and I got to tell you.
He did it. You heard him.
I kind of like it. So update everybody on the story about what, as we approach once again the fiscal cliff, what the governor wants to do and what, well, you've got it.
Yeah, the governor is meeting with business leaders today to devise a plan for addressing our $1.3 billion fiscal cliff.
Okay, so pardon me.
When temporary taxes expire next year.
Okay, so when the governor says we need a plan, what does that mean to you?
Oh, come on. We need a plan. We need more money out of your freaking wallet. That's his plan.
Please continue.
Oh, my goodness. Jeremy Alford of LAPolitics.com says we can expect to see the governor traveling across the state to get ideas after he was criticized for not publicizing his tax plan during the fiscal session. After 2 special sessions this year and 2 more last year, Alford says there aren't many options that haven't already been on the table. He says if history is any indication, it'll all come down to the sales tax. It's now at 5 cents.
We are now.
Mark my words. It will stay at 5 cents. It will forever stay at 5 cents. That 1 penny will never, ever go away.
You don't think that the penny sales tax that's about to expire, you don't think that a Republican legislature, a Republican state House, and a Republican state Senate controlled both houses by the GOP, you are predicting right now
it's going to stay.
28 past 7 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL traffic and weather, and Erin local news up next. .101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Time for traffic. Here's Ruben.
Still keeping an eye on that accident on Benton Road, northbound near Kingston Road in Bossier City. And we're looking at some traffic delays on Texas Avenue near Mansfield Road. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, mainly cloudy today with occasional rain and a thunderstorm, high 80. Tonight, a shower or thunderstorm around, low down to 71. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Steve Travis.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
Shreveport leaders discussing safety of open drains. Matt Parker has that.
Following the death of a 7-year-old boy who was swept away in a drainage ditch, city leaders are looking at options to prevent another tragedy. Councilman Willie Bradford suggested putting grates over the open drains, but city engineer Robert Westerman said that could potentially cause major flooding issues. However, Westerman suggested several other options, like fencing, that will allow water to flow but prevent children from being in harm's way. At this time, Mayor Ollie Tyler is reviewing all options discussed at Monday's meetings. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
Water troubles for one community today. A water main has ruptured on Highway 169. No water today in the Blanchard community as a result. The repairs are being made. Once those repairs are made, the likelihood there will be a boil advisory in effect. Another boy has died from a tragic boating accident. 11-year-old Thomas Larry died from injuries he suffered during that sailboating accident on Lake of the Pines. He was one of 3 Boy Scouts killed when the mast of their sailboat hit a power line. Now, in honor of the fallen scouts, a ceremony will be held this morning at 11 a.m. at University Health in Shreveport. East Texas Boy Scout officials say it was a freak accident. The organization does not plan on changing any of their procedures or policies. Booker T. Washington High welcomes new students. Last night they held an open house with incoming freshmen and new students from Fair Park. Parents were able to learn all about the student organizations and policies at BTW. Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser hoping to get more tourists to visit rural parts of our state. That's why he scheduled meetings in small towns to find the best way to promote local attractions. He says they're also hoping more Louisianians will choose to vacation here at home.
We want people to staycation right here in Louisiana, and we're asking everyone to spend one vacation when you would normally go out of town and go see a part of Louisiana you haven't seen.
Joe Ogden from Haynesville is dead following an 18-wheeler accident. Ogden was driving on L.A. Highway 159 in Webster Parish when he lost control of his big rig. According to troopers, Ogden left the roadway and overturned. He was not wearing a seatbelt at the time of the crash and was partially ejected from the truck. A report in a medical journal reveals that a safe haven for drug users to inject themselves with heroin and other drugs has been operating in the U.S. for the past 3 years. Researchers did not disclose the location of the site, which is unsanctioned and potentially illegal. The report published today comes as a number of U.S. communities have pushed for so-called safe injection sites. As Louisiana is approaching the one-year anniversary of the historic flooding, Congressman Garrett Graves is concerned with the slow pace of funding getting into the hands of victims. He says only 1% of the $2 billion additional dollars allocated by the feds has been dispersed. Congress will soon renew the National Flood Insurance Program, and Graves is hoping to make significant improvements. He says the Army Corps of Engineers is not moving fast enough when it comes to flood mitigation projects. He says it's time to reform that agency.
Making sure that the regulatory process, the permitting process is efficient, that we can spend dollars turning dirt, not turning pages through thousands of pages of reports and studies that don't bring value to the process.
Lots of clouds likely today, rain likely as well, with a high temp close to 80 degrees. Right now it's 74. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Oh man, this house should be
When it comes to donuts, you've got a lot of choices. There's a donut shop on just about every corner. But then there's Southern... .101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Explain to me the latest Did you post those photos yesterday, by the way? The drain, the culvert, the ditch?
No, I haven't yet. No. I have not, but I will.
The latest info on that story on the little boy last week, the 7-year-old who drowned.
The city council had a meeting, their work session yesterday. They'll have a meeting today. Councilman Willie Bradford is urging the city's engineering department to look for things they can do to prevent this type of tragedy in the future. Putting drainage grates on all of the drains in the city would be A, expensive, B, what would happen is tree limbs would back up and get stuck, and then you could have the potential for flooding in areas that don't flood, and worse flooding in areas that do flood. So that is one concern I know city leaders have. There is also some suggestions.
So basically, the concern would be that this little boy was playing in this drainage ditch, and I saw the photos. So if you think of your average 7-year-old, he was in a ditch in a cemented, it was paved, it was cemented, that if he stood down in, it was maybe up to his
waist,
chest, maybe a little higher.
Yeah, maybe.
And what happened was there was flash flood. The water came through unexpectedly, really, really fast, and carried him into the tube, into the pipe.
Right.
And he was swept away.
Yes.
So if you had a grate over that pipe where the little boy wouldn't have been swept into the pipe, what you would have had is rapidly rising water, and he would have been over his head anyway.
Right.
So either way, it's a dangerous situation. And the great idea, GRATE, that you just will cause a lot of flooding and backup problems.
Yeah. The other option they're discussing is putting fences around those ditches. So to go into every neighborhood.
Because a little boy has never, ever climbed a fence ever in his life.
Yeah, I get that. I understand. And then another option is to put grading on top of all of the ditches, which that would be cost prohibitive. I mean, that literally would be cost prohibitive. We have hundreds of miles of drainage ditches.
Is the fencing cost prohibitive? If you were to put how high a fence do you need? What kind of fence? I don't know. I mean, whatever you do is going to be cost prohibitive.
You know, you have to do what you think is feasible, but you also cannot prevent every tragedy. And for leaders to think, oh, if we do this, we'll never have this happen again. Well, you're going to have a kid climb a fence. You're going to have kids pull the grates down. You're going to have things that happen. You cannot, I know we want to. I know deep in our hearts we want to. But you cannot prevent every tragedy.
So any conclusion from the meeting yesterday? What is we're going to take? We're tabling this idea for a later date.
I expect you'll have a couple of weeks for discussion. It's going to come up again today as their regular meeting. So it'll come up again today. They have a work session on the Monday before, and then they have their regular meeting on the Tuesday. So I assume it'll come up again today. Maybe they'll have a few more answers. But then no final vote could come for another 2 weeks at the earliest.
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, 739. We talked yesterday a great deal about, well, it had to do with, I guess the headline of the post at KEELnews.com was if you're buying stuff online, are you costing local people jobs? And that sort of morphed from if you use the automatic checkout, if you do self-checkout at the grocery store, are you costing people jobs? And then we talked about like the machines at Kroger where you do your self-checkout and the ever-expanding number of at places like McDonald's,
yes,
where
you
do
got
your
a kiosk,
where they're fewer and fewer people. And we were talking about specifically the spreading of artificial intelligence, AI, i.e., that is the machines that do all that.
Right.
And I'm going to read you a headline, and we're going to talk about that more with our IT guy, Troy Jones, in the next segment. You ready?
I'm ready.
Facebook shut down its own artificial intelligence engine after developers discovered that the AI had created its own language that humans could not understand and was communicating with other machines.
Whoa.
So then they hit the off button. They freaked out, hit the off button. My question was, What happens if you hit the off button
Yeah.
and it doesn't turn off?
Oh, wow.
1017 FM, 710 Keel traffic update right now. Here's Ruben.
Still keeping an eye on that accident on Benton Road, northbound near Kingston Road in Bossier City. And we're looking at some traffic delays on Texas Avenue near Mansfield Road. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, mainly cloudy today with occasional rain and a thunderstorm, high 80. Tonight, a shower or thunderstorm around, low down to 71. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Steve Travis.
You are in just about one of the oddest moods.
I am. I'm in a freaky mood. Freaky, Ricky.
See?
Yeah.
742, it's 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Town Square Media IT, Troy Jones is here. Hey, Mr. Troy, how are you today?
Oh, always a work in progress, Erin. Good morning, Robert.
We had the story. I just read a little bit of this, and you probably saw this, because we had discussed in a great deal of detail the last couple of days the ever-expanding artificial intelligence world as it affects people every day, you know, like the self-checkout at Kroger, or you can have any one of a million soft drinks at Five Guys. The point is, I saw this and I wanted to know what you thought, because I know you think a lot, and it's pretty awesome stuff. Facebook shut down its own artificial intelligence engine after developers discovered that the AI had created its own language that the operators could not understand, and in fact was communicating with other machines. So I said, well, they can turn it off for now. Should we be as nervous about this? Should our reaction be what mine was, or is this to be anticipated?
Well, I think it's no coincidence that the two big stories about AI in 2017 was one, Elon Musk coming out and saying that AI is the inherent human threat for the history of the future of mankind. And then, of course, Facebook shutting down the AI bot. The two things that I'll tell you about AI is that, one, it's not what that is the catchphrase right now, AI. Everybody calls it that. But what really is the big, huge landmark is what we call deep learning environments with AI.
Pardon me, spelled like geek, G-E-E-K, geek?
Deep.
Deep.
Oh, deep. I'm sorry.
They call
Okay.
it DLE.
Deep
learning environments.
Learning environments.
Google,
okay.
Yeah, Google began this back with what they call the BRAIN project in 2011. And basically they use 16,000 computers all at once to look at 10 million images of cats. But the idea is that you're using AI every day in everything you use. The phone that I'm talking to you now on has voice recognition software. The Alexa that's in your control room right now, that is AI. language recognition, your car, being able to know when things happen, and even, believe it or not, they're going into healthcare now with being able to scan multiple images. So AI is actually the predecessor of what we call the deep learning environments, which is actually a multi-layered computer neural network, and it operates a lot like your brain does.
Okay.
Now, back to the
Is it
Facebook
good?
Well, it's kind of like fire, Erin. You know, you can
You
cook,
need it to
you
cook
can
your food.
You need it to cook your food and stay warm, but at the same time, it can burn down your house. So,
Oh.
I think that if we misuse a thing, then it's actually us that's inherently good or bad.
But when computers start developing their own language on their own and communicating with other computers, and sort of the fire sort of jumped out of the fire pit, hasn't it?
Well, not necessarily, because that was kind of misconstrued. What the Facebook actually had happen was they were working on an integration of the intelligence or the computer system integrating with humans and being able to interface back and forth with human interaction. And what the programs were actually doing were using what we put finger quotes around as code words, words that we obviously recognize back and forth. So a great example would be the way that you Google something isn't the way you normally would ask someone else. You know how to Google speak, like, find cats with spots. Well, that wouldn't be the way that you would talk to somebody else. You would actually say spots, cats, comma, whatever in Google. So what the programs were actually doing were using coded words to get to the results faster. So it wasn't really that they were developing their own language. They were just using words in their software to be able to communicate quickly, skipping over the human interaction part, and that's why they chose to shut it down. So the fact that they created their own language and they were kind of, starting Skynet is not really exactly what happened.
You and I were kind of looking at this the other day, but I understand Facebook also uses AI to fight terrorism in that it has image matching capabilities. So that if images are coming up on Facebook that are the image of, explain that, because it's really interesting stuff.
Sure. Well, the latest breakthrough with that deep learning environment involves what they call the field of image analytics. So it's not just image recreation, but we call image enhancement, basically restoring or filling in details missing from images, extrapolating data that's present, using anything that they know about similar images. Like, for instance, the Google Cloud Video Intelligence. It opens up the video analytics for and searches everything in there to say, let's say we have certain buildings in there or certain places that it recognizes. That way it can categorically summarize and generate a tab to be able to find these things and archive them so where you can find them quicker in the future. But the interesting thing is being able to scan all of those things quickly and categorize them quickly. Millions of images uploaded to the parts of the internet every day. That is something that is huge that would help us index those things to easily find them, and also to be able to group them into certain groups and be able to do some studies on those. So, for instance, being able to recreate voice or recreate video is something that you actually were able to see real time with what they're calling AlphaGo now.
In about 10 seconds, if you can do it in 10 seconds, because we've got about 40. If this was totally a good thing, why did Facebook shut it down?
Well, Facebook shut it down just because it wasn't doing the outcome that they had planned. The whole point of the exercise was to do a human-to-machine integration. And, of course, it kind of went off the rails because they started talking to one another instead of actually interpolating the human interface part of the program. Yeah. It was kind of like if you were,
Apologies, up against the break, buddy. Got to go. We appreciate it. Sorry to cut you off. Right now, $7.50, your money now on KEEL. Good morning, 7:52. Time for KEEL Sports. Here's Fletch.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. The Advocate reports LSU's men's basketball coach Will Wade is working under a 6-year deal worth $15 million or $2.5 million a year with no buyout. The 34-year-old Wade would owe LSU the amount remaining on his contract if he leaves for another job, and the school would owe him just the remaining on his contract if he is fired. Wade's salary is a $1 million bump from what he was making last year at Virginia Commonwealth, and it's also $1 million more than what Johnny Jones earned last year at LSU. In addition, the Advocate reports Wade could earn an additional $800,000 in incentives each season. The Saints released their first depth chart of the preseason with Thursday's preseason opener against Cleveland looming. Mark Ingram and Adrian Peterson are listed as co-starters at running back. Ted Ginn Jr. is also listed ahead of Willie Snead at one of the wide receiver spots. Over on defense, P.J. Williams is listed ahead of Delvin Breaux at one of the cornerback spots. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
You just said something off the radio. Was it interesting?
Well, it was on this day in 1974 that Richard Nixon announced he was going to resign.
You know, you would
Is
ask
that the
me.
day of I'm Not a Crook? No, that was a different day, right?
Oh, no, that was a long time before that.
Yeah.
No, Nixon just resigned, and no, you had told me about, you were talking
I
earlier.
watched the Frost Nixon documentary.
And you had asked me, there's so much stuff. You said, have you watched that? And I said, nah, not really. I was kind of there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's stuff that is from my adult life.
Mm-hmm.
I know what happened. Do I really need, and I already have my own impressions. And I'm
It was
sure
interesting. It was interesting how the interview came about.
the negotiations.
Why would you even? Why
that
would you
go
even
on.
agree to it? How much money was paid for the interview? All that sort of stuff.
Right.
Um.
They paid Nixon for that.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Big $200,000 up front, and then another
And
big
in that,
chunk.
at that time, 1970, whatever, that was probably big bucks.
Even CBS was offering him money for an interview, but he went with the bigger cash offer.
Which was David
David
Frost.
Frost, yeah. And ended up having to syndicate it on his own because no network would take it because he wasn't an employee.
756, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Filmmaker. He's a producer and a screenwriter and a director. His name is Derek Wayne Johnson, and he's got something going on at Robinson tonight. We will talk with him just past 8 o'clock. Right now, Sean Hannity on KEEL.
Waking up on the right side. This is the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
Mueller's investigation is, as I've been saying, out of control. This is what we saw with Patrick Fitzgerald. Patrick Fitzgerald was supposed to find out who leaked the identity of Valerie Plame. We were falsely told then that she was a covert operative. She was not. He learned on day one that the leaker was Richard Armitage. And then at that point, Patrick Fitzgerald should have closed down his shop and said goodbye. He didn't do it. And then it ended up 3 years later that the only thing he could get was a perjury trap for Scooter Libby. And Scooter Libby was told, well, if you just give up the vice president on A, B, and C, you can go free. You're free as a bird. I mean, that's how some of these prosecutors work. They're, well, we might have to take your wife into prison if you don't tell us what we want to hear. And the tactics that are used sometimes by some unsavory prosecutors is beyond the pale.
From coast to coast, from sea to shining sea, it's the Sean Hannity Show.
You know, I recently gave my home a facelift. I did it the best, simplest, and most inexpensive way possible. Brand new blinds from Blinds.com. And you get free online design consultation. You also get free samples. And the best part is every order gets free shipping. And of course, at Blinds.com, their prices, they're unbeatable. Now through August the 21st, you're going to get huge site-wide savings plus an additional 5% on top of that just by using the promo code Hannity. Blinds.com, promo code Hannity for an additional 5% off their huge site-wide sale. Hey, you know, everybody's got a to-do list. Drop everything off, the dry cleaning, pick up some milk. Here's an idea. Let's save hundreds of dollars on car insurance. Now, the good thing is you don't have to drop off anything or pick up anything. All you have to do is go to geico.com, and in 15 minutes, well, you can be saving 15% or more on car insurance. Maybe you need extra money in your pocket. It just may be the most rewarding thing you do today. Now, it's that easy. Save hundreds of dollars on car insurance. Just go to geico.com. Geico.com.
Rush Limbaugh, the authority for all things right. Weekdays from 11 to 2 on 1017 FM and 710 Keel.
Still keeping an eye on that accident on Benton Road, northbound near Kingston Road in Bossier City. And we're looking at some traffic delays on Texas Avenue near Mansfield Road. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Occasional rain and a thunderstorm today. High 80. Tonight, partly cloudy with a shower or thunderstorm. Low 71. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Steve Travis.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 1017 FM and 710 Keel. KEEL, Shreveport.
Good morning. It's 8:03, 1017 FM 710 Keel. Robert and Erin. Miss Erin has local news. She's standing by.
Another Boy Scout has died from a tragic boating accident. We'll tell you more about that. Teen suicide numbers are on the rise. Local schools are doing something to fight it. And 2 local schools are merging. I had a big event last night.
The feller's name is Derek Wayne Johnson. He's from Carthage, Texas originally. He's a movie producer and screenwriter and director, and he does just about everything related to movies. So how does a guy from Carthage end up in Los Angeles? And why is he here in Shreveport? We'll tell you. Plus, Fletcher.
He seceded?
Huh?
He seceded?
That's Cal Exit.
My bad.
He's somebody else. Plus, Fletcher in sports, traffic, and weather all coming up this hour on Keel.
The Keel Morning Report, now on 1017 FM and 710 Keel.
Another boy dies from a tragic boating accident. 11-year-old Thomas Larry has died from injuries he suffered during the sailboating accident at Lake of the Pines. A ceremony will be held today at University Health. The families decided to donate his organs to others. A flag will be raised at the local hospital during this procedure, and it will be given to the family after the surgical procedure is over. They're asking all scouts to show up at the hospital at 11 o'clock this morning in uniform in honor of Thomas. Following the death of a 7-year-old boy who was swept away in a drainage ditch, Shreveport leaders looking at options to prevent another tragedy. Councilman Willie Bradford suggested putting grates over the open drains, but city engineer Robert Westerman said that could potentially cause major flooding troubles. However, Westerman suggested several other options, like fencing, that would allow water to flow but prevent children from being in harm's way. With teen suicide on the rise, Caddo schools are doing everything they can to combat the trend. The school system is starting a new program to teach parents and students what to look for in loved ones that may be struggling or fighting depression. Booker T. Washington welcomes new students. Matt Parker has that.
Monday evening, an open house was held at Booker T. Washington High School. With incoming freshmen and new students from the merger with Fair Park, parents were able to learn all about the student organizations and policies at BTW. This year, the school will have a freshman academy where all ninth graders will have classes in their own wing of the campus. BTW is also the first school in Shreveport to implement the early college program, where students can earn a degree at Southern University while completing high school. From 1017 FM and 710 Keel, I'm Matt Parker.
Superintendent of Education John White's contract will be a topic of discussion for Bessie members this weekend. They're holding closed-door meetings on Saturday to talk about his future. Water problems in one community. The water main on Highway 169 is ruptured. No water today in Blanchard. As a result, the repairs are being made. Joe Ogden from Haynesville dead following an 18-wheeler crash. Ogden was driving on LA Highway 159 in Webster Parish when he lost control of his big rig. According to troopers, Ogden left the roadway and overturned. He was not buckled up. Governor Edwards holding a meeting with business leaders to put together a plan to deal with the fiscal cliff when temporary taxes expire next year. Jeremy Alford of LAPolitics.com says the governor is looking for a starting point.
We've all known that the fiscal cliff was coming, that it's an issue, that it's unresolved. But after the session palooza that we've had in Baton Rouge the past year and a half, the path forward is not so clear.
Good news for some faculty and staff at LSU. A pay raise is on the way. University President F. King Alexander says each department will get 3% more money, and department heads will figure out which employees get a share of the cash. Faculty Senate President Kevin Cope says this is great news for faculty who haven't gotten a pay raise in years.
I think it is indeed very wise, both of King Alexander and of state officials, to allow the faculty to have the economic tools that they need in order to do their job.
Send in the clowns or clown lovers. A clown-themed motel is for sale in rural Nevada, with the owner insisting the 600 clown figurines, mannequins, and paintings and his employees all get to stay. Partly cloudy, could see more rain likely today, the high temp near 80. Right now it is 74. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Nine past 8 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL traffic update. Ruben.
Keeping an eye on some slow-moving traffic on westbound East Berkins Industrial Loop near 3132. And we're still keeping an eye on that major accident on Benton Road near Kingston Road in Bossier City. Traffic is backed up right now. If you have anything to report to us, accidents, hazards, or closures, give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, mainly cloudy today with occasional rain and a thunderstorm, high 80. Tonight, a shower or thunderstorm around, low down to 71. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Steve Travis.
Good morning. It's 11 past 8 o'clock. Robert J. Wright, Erin McCarty, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Listen via the KEEL app. It's a free download, and it's presented by Office Furniture Source. There's a fella in the studio. His name is Derek Wayne Johnson from Carthage, Texas, and he is a movie guy. And we were talking a couple of seconds ago, a movie guy since he was like 2 or 3 years old. And now he is a screenwriter and producer and director, and he has a movie that is going to be at Robinson Film Center this evening, and we'll get to that and details because he's got some awesome stories in a couple of seconds. But first of all, A, thank you for joining us. B, how does a kid from Carthage, Texas end up in Los Angeles making movies?
Well, thanks for having me. And to answer that question, I always wanted to live in Los Angeles, but I first moved to Shreveport. And I, got my footing here.
Another movie hotbed, for the love of heaven.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then I just I decided it was time to go. But I went when I did in 2014 because I had this documentary to make, and I knew that that's where it needed to be made. And so I just took off and we did it.
Well, why this movie, this documentary?
Yeah, a little background on that, who it's about, etc.
John Avildsen is my favorite filmmaker. He made my favorite movies, Rocky and the Karate Kid. He won an Oscar for Rocky. And I just felt like this guy is just, it's called King of the Underdogs because he was the king of the underdog movie, just like Hitchcock was the master of suspense.
Mm-hmm.
And I just felt that I needed to tell his story. And I tracked him down on the internet about 5 years ago. And he responded. And we started a rapport. And if you want to hear that story, how it got started, I'll surely tell it. Oh, yeah. So I hit him up and I'm like, hey, John, it was half business, half fanboy, the email I sent him.
Mm-hmm.
And I offered him a script, naturally, to direct. And he hadn't directed in about 15 years at this time. And he said, all right, look, I get a lot of scripts. So send me a check for $1,000 and the script. If I like it, I'll do it. If I don't, I promise that I will script doctor every page for you. If that's worth $1,000, send it in. So I did. 2 weeks later, I get a phone call from John. Derek, John Avildsen, get a pen and paper ready. Your script sucks. Let's talk about it. And we were on the phone for 3 hours, and he followed through every page, and he mailed it back to me as well.
But on the other hand, if you're going to be told that you suck, at least from an Oscar-winning director.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I had the script that I paid $1,000 that was script doctored. So now I fly out to meet him months later, and I offer him another script because I didn't live there at the time, of course. And he turned me down, didn't charge me this time, of course. And we met for another 3 hours, and it was great. And now I'm devastated, so I fly back home, and I've paid $1,000.
Out of $1,000, yeah.
Yeah, and he's turned me down twice, so then it clicks.
Okay, so you have a relationship with John Avildsen, one of Hollywood's best known, most praised, most lauded, famous directors. Rocky, Karate Kid, and a bunch of others. We can run down the IMDb page in a minute. At what point did it dawn on you, I want to do a documentary about this guy that is part fanboy, part movie guy?
It was the moment I got off the plane and back home, and I was kind of in desperation, and I called him. I said, I don't know. I reacted, and I called him. I said, John, listen, look, I'm really disappointed. I really want to work with you. So if I can't make a movie with you, what if I make a movie about you? And he says, you want to work with me, kid? You're in. Let's do it. And then I had to follow through, and I did.
Wow. And you had chances to go interview him and film him and do all that.
Well, not only interview him, but interview for people who aren't familiar with all of his work. His best known, Rocky, Karate Kid, run down about 4 or 5 of the others, because you've got the stars and the directors and a lot of other Hollywood A-listers to talk about this man that you so much admired.
Yeah, I mean, he did Rocky 1, Rocky 5, Karate Kid 1, 2, and 3. He did Lean On Me with Morgan Freeman, Save the Tiger with Jack Lemmon, Joe with Susan Sarandon's first film, and Peter Boyle. He did all these 8 Seconds. He did that, the bull riding movie. He just did all of these. He directed Marlon Brando and George C. Scott in the same film called The Formula. So he did it all. He had a career of about 30 years and 20-something movies. And I don't know, he always stuck out to me. He was this guy with this weird name, John G. Avildsen, that no one really knows about, outside of the industry, that is. And I was just fascinated by him and his movies.
So tonight at Robinson Film Center, there is going to be a screening of your documentary, a labor of love to say the least, John G. Avildsen, King of the Underdogs. But you can't go.
You can't go.
That's
because you sold it out again.
We did. Last night we got word that we sold out the night before the screening, but you can still see the movie elsewhere.
How do you get the movie?
You can get the movie online. You can order it at our distributor's website, chassis.com. That's CHASSY.com. You can get it on DVD, Blu-ray, digital download. You can also get it on iTunes, Amazon, Vudu, Google Play. It's out there. You can watch the movie right now.
How close did you and John become? Was it a professional relationship? Was it a father-son? Somewhere in the middle?
It was both. I mean, he became, I'll put it this way. It's not every day that someone gets to meet their heroes and then befriend their heroes and then be mentored by their heroes and then make a movie about their heroes. So we became like family. I always told him, you're like my own Mr. Miyagi. And he'd always crack up when I'd tell him that. And we became close. We fought. And, sometimes I'd win a battle. Sometimes he'd win a battle. Okay, most of the time he'd win a battle. But we loved each other, and he just became a really good person in my life. And he took me under his wing and mentored me. And his mentor was Frank Capra.
Wow.
And I got to be mentored by, kind of like a descendant of Frank Capra, if you think about it.
Biggest lesson you learned from him?
have an opinion and stick to it. You're the director. You're in charge. They hired you to make this movie. If they think they can do it better, they should direct it. That's what he would always say.
Let me interject, and then you can finish your answer. My brother is a retired assistant fire chief, and he says the problem with the world is when it comes to leadership, if you want to be a good leader, make a decision and stick with it all the time. He said people are waiting to be led.
Absolutely, and John just didn't. He wasn't like that. His father. You'll learn in the movie had a big influence on him. His father was a big. He was a poor man that built an empire during the 40s, and he really took control and taught John how to be a leader. And John would always say, well, I saw my father telling people what to do. That's what a director does, so that's kind of what I did.
I'm born for the job.
Yeah, exactly.
I tell you what, Derek Wayne Anderson, the movie is John G. Avildsen, King of the Underdogs. Now, in your movie, when we come back from the break, for this documentary about Avildsen, you got just about every Hollywood big guy and gal there is, including Sylvester Stallone. And, in fact, you could just run down your favorite 5 before we go to the break.
Oh, gosh, let's see. Sylvester Stallone, Ralph Macchio, Martin Scorsese, Burt Reynolds, Talia Shire.
Tell you what, when we come back, because I know you've got some stories, and we can't wait to hear them. More on the way, 19 past 8 o'clock. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL traffic. The latest traffic. Here's Ruben on KEEL.
The intersection of North Market and North Hearn Avenues dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we're still keeping an eye on that major accident on Benton Road near Kingston Road in Bossier City that has traffic backed up on Benton Road right now. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, occasional rain and a thunderstorm today, high 80. Tonight, partly cloudy with a shower or thunderstorm, low 71. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Steve Travis.
Good morning. It's 21 past 8 o'clock. KEEL Sports. Here's Tim.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. The Advocate reports LSU's men's basketball coach Will Wade is working under a 6-year deal worth $15 million or $2.5 million a year with no buyout. The 34-year-old Wade would owe LSU the amount remaining on his contract if he leaves for another job, and the school would owe him just the remaining on his contract if he is fired. Wade's salary is a $1 million bump from what he was making last year at Virginia Commonwealth, and it's also $1 million more than what Johnny Jones earned last year at LSU. In addition, the Advocate reports Wade could earn an additional $800,000 in incentives each season. The Saints released their first depth chart of the preseason with Thursday's preseason opener against Cleveland looming. Mark Ingram and Adrian Peterson are listed as co-starters at running back. Ted Ginn Jr. is also listed ahead of Willie Snead at one of the wide receiver spots. Over on defense, P.J. Williams is listed ahead of Delvin Breaux at one of the cornerback spots. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
23 past 8, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Robert and Erin, the fellow in the room, to use that lexicon once again, is Derek Wayne Johnson. He is from Carthage, Texas originally.
We're in the South. Call him feller.
A movie director and screenwriter and producer, and you have a documentary film appearing this evening at the Robinson downtown. John G. Avildsen, King of the Underdogs. Avildsen, one of Hollywood's most praised, if perhaps slightly unknown directors. And you spent, how long did it take you? Avildsen has since passed away about earlier this year, right?
Yeah, June 16th of this year.
And how much time did you, so you started your documentary, your biography of this guy, when he was still living.
Absolutely.
How long ago did this begin?
It was a 3-year project.
Really?
And he got to be a part of it. I mean, he was very hands-on in the sense of giving a lot of notes and anything that we needed. He didn't, step over me or anything. He certainly wanted it right.
So, like you with the Panola Watchman.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There you
go. In your movie, in this tribute to Avildsen, you have practically every actor still living that he ever worked with. Sylvester Stallone, you had mentioned. Ralph Macchio, Karate Kid, another of his movies. Then guys like Martin Scorsese. Do you just pick up the phone? How hard is it to convince people like that you're legit? How did that work?
I think they signed on because of John. They knew if John was involved, then it has to be legit. And, the day we called Sylvester Stallone is the day he said yes. The day we called Martin Scorsese, he said yes, but we had to wait 6 months to get him. And it was totally worth it. I mean, and you'll find out in the movie what the connection is with Martin Scorsese and John Avildsen. I don't want to give it away, but it's fascinating.
Two of distinctively different styles of filmmaking. So you sit down, just Stallone stories, Ralph Macchio, Karate Kid stories. Give us a couple.
Well, when I interviewed Sylvester Stallone, that was the best day I've ever had on a film set ever. Nothing went wrong except his phone went off. And I was thinking, glad it's not my phone, It just went smooth. We're working on other stuff together, and I'll give you one. Flew to Burt Reynolds' house in Florida. He was such a gentleman, and he actually did not like John Avildsen. And John Avildsen
now, what
did
was
not
their
like
movie?
him.
They had worked together on.
They did a movie called W.W. and the Dixie Dance Kings in 1975. Now this is a year
Don't
before
tell me
Rocky.
Jerry Reed's in it.
Jerry
somewhere.
Reed, absolutely. There you go. You know your stuff.
No, Jerry Reed was in every Burt Reynolds movie.
He was.
And Adrienne Barbeau with the dress on.
Right.
Okay.
And it was a year before Rocky and 2 years before Smokey and the Bandit. And these guys just did not get along. And it's funny because Burt had nothing but terrible things to say about John, but he always followed it with, but I respect him, and he's a genius.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really interesting.
Must not hated him too much. She did like all these movies with him, and together they made $1 billion.
Right. Well, this was Burt Reynolds. They didn't make $1 billion, but they certainly did not like each other.
As a movie maker, I'm looking at some of your background stuff. You actually didn't get to sit down with Martin Scorsese because he sent in his video. But have you since had a chance to meet with him?
He's the only one in the film that I did not get to meet or interview. He did it off of a teleprompter because he does so many documentaries. They just send in the questions. But everyone else I got to sit down with and interview.
How daunting would that be for you as a filmmaker to sit down with Martin Scorsese?
Oh, gosh, I wish I could have. But, everyone else made up for it for sure.
Right, absolutely. Now, how much say... Was the documentary complete before John's death last summer?
Absolutely. He got to watch it several times. He got to see it with sold-out audiences at private screenings and film festivals. And the last time I saw him, the last time he saw the film was at our world premiere in February. And he was just delighted.
What is next for you? You're working on another documentary, right?
Doing 2 right now. I'm doing a documentary on Frank Stallone. It's called Stallone, Frank that is, on Sylvester's younger brother, who's a Grammy and Golden Globe nominated singer, actor, musician, great storyteller. And we're also doing a Rocky documentary. So it's going to,
What could be said, or what could you do about Rocky that hasn't been done?
This one's going to be
the angle.
This one's going to be unique. We're going to really incorporate John Avildsen's amazing vault of home movies, behind the scenes, rehearsal footage that he shot on the set of Rocky. And there's so much that people have already seen, and we use it in King of the Underdogs, but we have so much that people have never seen.
People will say that a lot of great things happen to people totally by accident. I know I've got some friends who have done very well, and it's not because of necessarily what they did, but because when opportunity presented itself, they saw it and knew what to do. Did you, when you were starting off in film, think of yourself as a documentary filmmaker? Is this what you are now, and is this the path?
Not at all. I'm a filmmaker. I make narrative films. I make documentaries. This was my first one, but I kind of caught the bug, and now I'm doing a few more.
What is the bug? What is the difference in a documentary? Because you're working on your second and third, as opposed to a storytelling.
Well, I always say I don't choose the medium chooses me. So basically, if this story needs to be told as a documentary, I'll do it. If it needs to be told as a narrative, I'll do it. So it kind of picks itself when you think about it. And I don't know, I kind of have a knack for it right now, I think.
You had said early on that Mr. John, that Abelson had said a couple of times, you suck.
He didn't like my script. And it turns out he didn't like my scripts because he didn't like the genre that they were. He didn't like action and suspense and thrillers and things like that, explosions and guns. He liked these underdog dramas, these human stories. That's what he connected with.
Do you think at the end he would have looked at you and said, or maybe he did, kid, you know what you're doing. You're pretty good at this.
Many times. He and I shed some tears together several times. He let me hold his Oscar and took a photo of me, and he said, get used to it. You're going to have your own one day. And that's all I needed. That's all I needed. Yeah.
We will end on that note. Derek Wayne Johnson, Carthage, Texas guy, L.A. guy, by way of Shreveport, here and there. It's called John G. Abelson, King of the Underdogs documentary on that praised, that highly thought of Hollywood director, and it's tonight at the Robinson. And you can't get in, but tell us again where it can be seen.
You can find it at chassis.com, CHASSY. iTunes, Amazon, Google Play. It's out there. You can watch it right now.
Fact, it's sold out. Must make you feel good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
29 past 8 o'clock, 1017 FM, 710 KEEL. Erin has local news in a moment or two. Traffic time. Here's Ruben.
The intersection of North Market and North Hearn Avenues dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we're still keeping an eye on that major accident on Benton Road near Kingston Road in Bossier City that has traffic backed up on Benton Road right now. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, mainly cloudy today with occasional rain and a thunderstorm, high 80. Tonight, a shower or thunderstorm around, low down to 71. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Steve Travis.
Old boy who was swept away in a drainage ditch. City leaders are looking at options to prevent another tragedy. With teenage suicide on the rise, Caddo schools are doing everything they can to combat the trend. The school system is starting a new program to teach parents and students what to look for in loved ones that may be struggling or fighting depression. The Signs of Suicide Prevention program will teach what to look for and what steps to take if something is wrong. Joe Ogden from Haynesville dead following an 18-wheeler accident. Ogden was driving on LA Highway 159 in Webster Parish when he lost control of his big rig. According to troopers, Ogden left the roadway and overturned. He was not buckled up. A brief scare at a maximum security prison in Arkansas after inmates took 3 officers hostage. Victoria Price with Fox affiliate KLRT was on the scene.
Prison officials have given everything the all clear. We're told the disturbance has been resolved and things are slowly but surely going to get back to normal here at Tucker Max. Earlier this afternoon, we're told at 3:30 during a recreational call, 6 inmates managed to somehow snatch the keys away, took control of an area of the prison. There were 3 correctional officers trapped, if you will, in there with them.
All 3 of the officers were released, 1 inmate taken to the hospital. Superintendent of Education John White's contract will be a topic of discussion for Bessie members. The board will hold a closed-door meeting on Saturday to talk about White's future. Today, Governor Edwards is holding a meeting with business leaders to devise a plan for addressing the looming fiscal cliff when temporary taxes expire next year. Jeremy Alford of LAPolitics.com says we can expect to see the governor traveling the state to get ideas after he was criticized for not publicizing his tax plan during the fiscal session. After 2 special sessions this year and 2 more last year, Alford says there's not many options that haven't already been on the table. He says if history is any indication of what's to come, it may all come down to the sales tax.
The sales tax has been a go-to move for the legislature and governors. It's a quick and dirty way to generate money. You don't have to wait for it to be implemented. You can implement it right away, and the revenue will start showing up.
Alford says the governor is looking to hear from the business community what types of policy changes may be palatable, specifically tax increases. UN Ambassador Nikki Haley addressing news that North Korea has put anti-ship cruise missiles on a patrol boat.
I can't talk about classified information. What I can tell you is that we are on it. We are very aware of what's happening. We are going to continue to watch.
U.S. spy agencies reporting that information on Monday. Now, it's the first time missiles have been deployed on that platform since 2014 and comes after the UN Security Council put tough new sanctions on North Korea. Some lucky carriage horses in Philadelphia got a summertime treat after a truck spilled a load of watermelons on the street near Independence Hall. Some people bought the surviving melons for their kids, while horses used for carriage tours helped with the cleanup by eating the smashed fruit. Cloudy today, could see a shower possible throughout the afternoon, high near 80 degrees. Right now, 74. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
See, I got something I'm just going to kind of make up here, which is kind of what we do sometimes.
Go ahead on.
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Robert and Erin, it's 8:38. No, we're running late, so which is not bad.
Right.
But, oh, man. No, I want to do this when we get back because I don't want to start it because it's an awesome question for you and everybody.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
But as we were coming out of the break, Matt facetiously, tongue-in-cheek, with a great degree of sarcasm and, dare I say, acidity, said, "Yeah, Bob, you're the greatest man I've ever known." Now, I can't say it quite the way he said it because I'm not that cold and distant.
Right.
But the point is, you did say, with some degree of insincerity, "Yes, Bob."
I don't think it was insincere. I just said that, you're the greatest man I've ever known.
And then choked on it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That started the segment that we'll continue when we get, because I have a question for you, and I have a question for you, and for everybody that is related to that, but it ain't what you think. 839, 1017 FM, 710 Keel traffic update. Ruben, are you ready?
The intersection of Hearn Avenue and 4th Street's dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now, and we're still keeping a close eye on that major accident on East 70th Street near East Burke-Coons Industrial Loop. If you have anything to report to us, accidents, hazards, or closures, give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, mainly cloudy today with occasional rain and a thunderstorm, high 80. Tonight, a shower or thunderstorm around, low down to 71. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Steve Travis.
Okay, 841. Robert J. Wright, Erin McCarty, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. The Keel app, a free download from Office Furniture Source. And you can watch Your Focus Will Be Never Ending if you are watching the Keel Facebook page because the video is streaming via the Parky Cams.
Got an email says you asked us to check on the signal today on the FM. I can tell the signal is much better around the city. Still drops out before you get to Minden. I was listening until just before exit 44.
For Minden. It's for the Shreveport metro area,
Yes,
specifically for north of I-20. So anything south of I-20, because that's where the AM signal is occasionally challenged when we are on night pattern, then anything south of I-20 is, bluntly put, gravy. Well, they changed, they moved the tower on the little transmitter deal, and now we are pretty much blanketing south of I-22, so kudos to the engineering staff. Okay, so before we went to the last break, Matt kind of said, sarcastically, "All right, Bob," meaning me, "Bob, you're the greatest man I've ever known." And I said, and then he went, pip, right.
Yeah.
I said, "Why, thank you, Matt. I feel all warm and damp inside."
Love.
So here's my question, and this sort of pertains. This made me think of this when Derek was still here. Derek Wayne Johnson, the movie maker who just left. And he had great admiration for movie maker, for director John Avildsen, and did a documentary. It's playing this tonight, as a matter of fact, to a sold-out house at Robinson Film Center. And we started the interview at about 10 past 8 and said, "So you're from Carthage, Texas. You're in L.A. now. You're a movie maker. How did you call?" I just picked up the phone and called him. I said, "What? You did a movie on it?" He said, "I admired him. I didn't know him from Adam. I just picked up the phone and said, I want to do a movie about you." Who, if anybody, but I think I know in your case who it is. If you had a way to get the phone number, And you too, if you had a way to get the phone number, if you're 1 degree or 2 degrees of separation away from who to you is what John Avildsen is to Derek Wayne Johnson, who would you pick up the phone and call? Your hero. You're somebody that... because what if you look up to this guy? This is your professional hero. He's a movie director. Avildsen did Rocky, Karate Kid, an endless array of hit movies.
Yeah.
And he's going to pick up the phone out of the blue and call this guy. Imagine being, and I don't think this is an exaggeration, imagine being a 12-year-old Billy Crystal and you've got Mickey Mantle's phone number.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't mind sitting down with Barbara Walters, to be honest.
But if you had the number, if you were 1 degree of separation...
If I could call her and chat with her.
And you don't know what her reaction's going to be.
No.
Talk your way in. Go.
Oh.
Hello.
Miss Walters, I'm just an admirer and fan of you and have been for many, many years.
You think that's gonna? You think she's hung up already? You think she's gonna?
She might have hung up already. Yeah, she might. How'd you get my number?
Exactly.
How'd you get my? Well, please don't hang up. I just want to tell you.
Would you be shaken? Would you be nervous?
I'd have to get up a lot of gumption to make that call.
To be turned down, like calling and asking for a blind date with somebody you think is hot.
Like, can we go sit and have coffee?
Could
we just go have coffee?
Or I want to make a movie. I mean, okay, so which do you think is for somebody like Derek, which do you think is the more, if you're John Avildsen on the phone with this guy and you don't know,
yeah,
and he's talking his way, which is more outlandish to you? Let's hang out or let's make a movie together?
I like the send me $1,000 and I'll check your script.
He did tell him that.
I think that's pretty cool.
Okay, so Barbara Walters for you. Parky, anybody at all. I think I know who you're going to say.
There's about 3 people.
Okay.
And I can't pick who I would want to talk to more.
Bob Dylan.
He was, yeah.
Dave Grohl.
No.
No. Who else?
Roddy Piper. No joke. And probably Howard Stern, just to get inside his mind of how he was willing to do the things that he did to get where he is.
So explain to me, well, I kind of get the Bob Dylan.
Who's yours? Who's yours?
You'll get to me. Explain to me the Roddy Piper.
Roddy Piper? Growing up...
You're a huge wrestling fan.
I am, but when I was growing up, there was always... all the kids loved the good guys. I was always fascinated by the bad guys. Like, I loved, Roddy Piper and Ric Flair and those guys, but the one thing that they did that no one else could do was talk. Like, didn't matter. You hand them a microphone, they're going to be entertaining for 2 minutes.
Off and running.
Just go. So I would just love to sit down, and because he wrote all of his own stuff then, he got into the movie business, he did other things. I just would love to chat with him.
And your call's going to be to who?
I have absolutely no idea.
Really?
I swear to you, I have absolutely no idea.
Wow.
You've known me for 20 plus years. Who do you think it would be? Help. And I'm saying this in the sense of help me out. There are sports people I'd like to talk to. There are people in entertainment or in politics I'd like to talk to. But nobody
no
that I...
idol?
No, I like I said, help me out with that. Maybe I'm forgetting something. Look,
Yeah.
I've told you forever. Everybody always says, you know what you need to do? You need to sit down and write a book about all your radio stories because there's a million.
Mm-hmm.
And I've said my biggest fear would be that I would do that. And that the day it was going to go to the printer or
you're at the book signing.
And I'm going, oh, my God, I just forgot the best one.
You forgot the best story.
Yeah.
Casey Kasem? You wouldn't want to.
God, no.
No.
I mean, not to Casey. No, I just know.
Nobody in radio.
Nobody in radio at all.
No.
Well, no, not really.
No. Wolfman Jack?
Wolfman Jack. That look like Wolfman Jack.
When have you ever heard me mention Wolfman Jack?
I'm just thinking of famous radio people.
The people that I'm most interested in are not radio. Rush Limbaugh, I would love to hang out with him.
Okay. So you'd call Rush.
The $40 million man.
What would you say to Rush to try to get him to have coffee with you?
I would not. I'd tell him we could play golf.
Okay.
I'll buy
get
the
him
cigars.
on a good golf course.
Yeah.
Okay. You'd have to yell it at him. He can't hear real well. Rush! Want to play golf? No, he's got that thing in his ear, doesn't he?
Cochlear implant.
Okay, so he can hear okay.
Mm-hmm.
You and Rush, that would be kind of interesting.
I would be intrigued just because I tell young radio people, if you want to know, the one thing that nobody really gets about Rush Limbaugh is that he's an old radio guy.
Yeah.
That more than anything else, he understands how radio works. So when somebody says, we're going to put the new Rush Limbaugh, and they're not traditionally radio people, they're destined to fail because they don't understand how it works. There's a lot of younger talk guys now who are coming out of music radio, and they kind of get it. But it still takes 10 or 15 years, as we are discovering, to figure it all out. And I tell young radio, if you want to know how to structure something, and how to make a point and tell a story, listen to Rush Limbaugh. Then take his 20 minutes and you break it down to 15 seconds.
Oh boy, that's tough. Yeah, that's tough.
That's the one thing in this company I would love to do. I would love to work with young DJs, and so, but there's not that many. It's 8:49, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. It's time for traffic with the latest road stuff. Here's Ruben.
The intersection of Hearn Avenue and Ford Street's dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we're still keeping a close eye on that major accident on East 70th Street near East Coons Industrial Loop. If you have anything to report to us, accidents, hazards, or closures, give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, occasional rain and a thunderstorm today, high 80. Tonight, partly cloudy with a shower or thunderstorm, low 71. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Steve Travis. Low 71. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Steve Travis.
I'm Rasa Kay with Your Money Now. Stocks
Eight before 9 o'clock, Keel Sports. Here's Tim.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. The Advocate reports LSU's men's basketball coach Will Wade is working under a 6-year deal worth $15 million or $2.5 million a year with no buyout. The 34-year-old Wade would owe LSU the amount remaining on his contract if he leaves for another job, and the school would owe him just the remaining on his contract if he is fired. Wade's salary is a $1 million bump from what he was making last year at Virginia Commonwealth, and it's also $1 million more than what Johnny Jones earned last year at LSU. In addition, the Advocate reports Wade could earn an additional $800,000 in incentives each season. The Saints released their first depth chart of the preseason with Thursday's preseason opener against Cleveland looming. Mark Ingram and Adrian Peterson are listed as co-starters at running back. Ted Ginn Jr. is also listed ahead of Willie Snead at one of the wide receiver spots. Over on defense, P.J. Williams is listed ahead of Delvin Breaux at one of the cornerback spots. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
Hey there, Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty, once again for our boys, at Twin City Appliance, online at twincityappliance.com. I just like reading the bullet points. Washers, dryers, refrigerators, ice makers. Major home appliance repair is what they do.
I just like making the noises because my appliances sometimes go on the blink and they sound crazy.
Before you... oh my God, I was watching Easy Rider the other night. You sound like what Peter Fonda was writing.
And when my appliance sounds goofy, Twin City Appliance can fix it. It's easy. Give them a call today, 318-688-0253, or check them out online, twincityappliance.com.
Hello, this is Billy from Sand Dollar Pools. If you've always wanted an in-ground swimming pool but thought you couldn't afford it, Sand Dollar Pools offers low-rate, long-term financing with same-day funding. Sand Dollar Pools is the only local pool company that builds any type of in-ground pool. Look us up on the web at sanddollarpoolsla.com or call 888-866-9440.
Hey, I'm here with Jennifer Darlington of Avalone Door and Iron Works. Jennifer, you've been handling folks' garage doors for 40 years, but you're doing something new. You're doing folks' honeydews for them. Tell me a little bit about that.
That's right, Erin. We've always known that our customers invite us into more than just their house. I mean, this is their home. Many of them have to deal with 5 or more different contractors in order to handle all the work that they want done.
What kind of things can you guys do?
Gosh, girl, we do so many things, from gutter cleaning, power washing, patios, driveways. Maybe you need something assembled like furniture.
You can assemble furniture?
Absolutely.
How can folks get in touch with you?